Hey everyone, it's Morella Manelli here, and today I'm going to show you how to do a bleach and tone using the brand new Kenra Professional Simply Blonde Beyond Bond Lightener. So stay tuned and check it out. This is my model Nicole, and she is a natural level 5. And the last time that she got her hair done was about 6 weeks ago, so she's definitely ready for a touch-up. So we're going to go in with Kenra Professional Simply Blonde Beyond Bond Lightener at a 1:2 mixing ratio with 20 volume developer, and then process her for 55 minutes. I'm starting out by sectioning Nicole's hair into 4 quadrants and then splitting it right down the middle and then from the apex right behind the ear. I then secure each section with the clip so I have a nice clean working space. Having a clean working space is essential in making sure your product is applied neatly, and this is super important when working with lightener. For Nicole's service today, I'm mixing up Kenra Professional Simply Blonde Beyond Bond Lightener at a 1:2 mixing ratio. I like my lightener a little thicker in viscosity when doing a bleach and tone because it stays right where I apply it. To get started, I apply my lightener on the outline of my quadrant on the new growth only. It's been about 6 weeks since Nicole's last service, so she has the perfect amount of new growth for this service. I typically would recommend to touch up a double process or bleach and tone every 4 to 6 weeks. I wouldn't suggest going any longer than 6 weeks because you may experience banding and you can avoid a lot of extra work and time. Staying on a schedule and being consistent with your product, timing, and mixing ratios will ensure a perfect result every time. You can see I'm starting in the back using a small brush, so using the right size brush will give you lots of control. So if you're working in a small section, use a small brush. Our goal with my model's hair is to get her level 5 hair to a solid level 9 or 10. In order to do this, I need to use the right product and the right application. So I'm choosing Kenra Professional Simply Blonde Beyond Bond Lightener because Nicole has previously lightened hair and it's super long. Her biggest priority is making sure her hair stays long and healthy. And I knew she and I would love how strong her hair would feel after using Beyond Bond Lightener because of its inner and outer bonding technology. I can take her really light without compromising her hair. For her application, I'm taking very thin sections, about 1/8 of an inch thick, and then applying my lightener to both sides. It's imperative that you apply the lightener only to the new growth, avoiding overlapping at all costs. When I apply my lightener, I use a tap method versus a swiping the color on the hair method. If you tap the lightener onto the new growth, this helps prevent overlap. You can also see that there is the tiniest bit of new growth left out where it meets the blonde. I purposely leave this out because I know that with the heat of her head, the product will swell just enough to lift it where her new growth meets the blonde. Once I'm done with this section, I will also be using cotton to help prevent additional overlap, which I will show you in just a second. In the meantime, I'm continuing to apply my lightener, making sure to hold the hair nice and taut, applying on both sides, and making sure to not press the lightener or the section onto the hair of the previous section. I make sure to apply only on the hair I'm working with, literally one section at a time. Bleach and tone services can be extra time consuming because of this, but if you want to ensure an even lift with uncompromised hair, this is the best and only way to do it. It's totally okay to be tedious with your application. One extra tip when working in the back is to make sure you place or lay your section up. Don't smash it down. If you are having a hard time placing your hair while moving down the section, you can always start from the bottom and work your way up. Once you're done with the back section, it's time to bring the hair down. I have pre-cut cotton ready to go. You can see by me placing the hair up, it's already pre-sectioned for the most part. You basically want the base of the hair to be lifted off of the scalp. So since the lightener needs to process, I'm going to put the cotton between most of the sections for a couple of reasons. So one, it's going to prevent overlap and give each section something to rest on. It will help also keep my lightener moist since it's exposed to air and not in a foil. Since I'm applying cotton last, this gives me an opportunity also to double check my sections and look for reapplication. I continue to apply in this method on the other back quadrant, and then I apply the front sections last. The reason I leave the front for last is because it's typically slightly lighter and it's finer in texture than the hair in the back, meaning it will process and lighten quicker too. I still apply my lightener on the outline of my quadrant first, and then starting from the top corner and working my way down using a slight diagonal sections. I am also using 2 different size brushes, one small and one extra small for my tiny sections. I still tap the lightener into the section on the new growth only and apply to each side. So you want to make sure that you're properly saturating each side, making sure that my section is really clean and I'm holding the hair nice and taut. The only difference is that I am using cotton between more sections in the front and applying them as I work through each section. In addition to the cotton helping avoid overlap, it's also great at holding the hair in place as I apply the lightener. If this method works best for you, you can definitely do this in the back too.
Now that we're all done applying her lightener to her regrowth, we're just gonna process for 55 minutes at room temperature and then get ready to rinse.
To check the progress of the lightener, I always wipe away the lightener from the roots so I can see how light the hair is lifted. I'm looking for 0 evidence of orange or gold since we are aiming for a level 9 or 10, which is why I processed her for the maximum time the lightener allows for. After shampooing and rinsing, I took Nicole back to my chair to apply her final color. I applied to the regrowth only, starting in the back, and for the front, I left out about 1 inch of her hairline since it processes more quickly. I decided to go in with Simply Blonde Sheer Tone because of its alkaline base and tone. She has some slight bands that need a slight budge, plus the tone is sheer, keeping her as light as possible. Since she wants to be a natural pearl finish, I went in with 2 parts natural gold and 1 part ice, and then equal parts of 20 volume developer in Simply Blonde. Once I was done applying her toner to all of her new growth, I applied to her ends in the back first, making sure to fully saturate. Then I finished applying the toner in the front, including the hairline that was initially left out, and then I processed her room temperature for 10 minutes.
And here's the final result on how to do a bleach and tone using Kenra Professional Simply Blonde Beyond Bond Lightener. So just to recap, we went in with Kenra Professional Simply Blonde Beyond Bond Lightener at a 1:2 mixing ratio with 20 volume developer at her new growth and processed for 55 minutes. And then for her final glaze, we went in with Kenra Professional Simply Blonde Sheer Tone Natural Gold and Ice with 20 volume developer, equal parts, and then processed her for 10 minutes. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial, and if you did, give this a thumbs up, subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time.